here or who are coming, nobody's on yet. It's live. This is Janine, reclaiming our identity. You probably couldn't hear me very well. You can hear me much better now. This is Janine with Reclaiming Our Identity. If this is your first time coming to our channel, welcome to Reclaiming Our Identities channel. I'm going to talk about something that's been trending on the WhatsApp group for a little while. Occasionally, it comes up when new Black expats come into Kigali. I live in Rwanda. Sometimes they will ask questions about brokers' fees, transportation costs, who they should ask to show them around for housing, how the customary system works, what is the standard of payment, things of that nature. And like I said, every once in a while it trends, and several people are asking questions or making comments based on those particular things. So that's what I'm going to talk about today because one of my fellow Black expats said something that I resonated with, which was nobody's talking about this stuff. Like, why aren't people saying that this is the experience that you are likely to have unless you are told otherwise? Or why isn't anybody talking about these things on YouTube? And there might be some people who are talking about this stuff. There may be friends who are advising friends who are coming into the country about how to look out for certain things and which questions to ask and what information to make sure that they disclose and discuss up front. There may be. I didn't see it because my husband and I um, there were some things that we found out on the back end. I'll just say it that way. So I think it's extremely helpful to have this conversation. Hello, African Queen Giselle is in the house, in the on the line. I don't know why they don't. If they do, they want you to pay for it all the time. Yeah, I talk about it for free. Now that's true. You are right. You are right. There are people that provide this information, but they want you to click and subscribe to a payment package or some kind of compensation for them in order for them to advise you and give you information. And I'm with you. I agree. I'm going to give it for free. I mean, we want to look out for each other, right? We want to help each other out. And I'm just out here trying to make it just like everybody else, but I'm trying to make it better than it was before, right? Especially for my children. And so I am like a lot of other people who are not wealthy and don't have a lot of expendable resources just to pay this person and give that person and provide, purchase this service or have you. There are people who do. And that's wonderful. That's a blessing if you can just pay whatever fees rendered or costs for whatever services so that things can be made smoothly. It's great because there actually are some very cost effective service providers. One of them I interviewed on this channel who provides himself as a buddy to help assist people to relocate to Rwanda. So there's some very cost effective ones who are extremely professional and knowledgeable. So, sometimes it's a good thing. Queen says, I think it's terrible, my opinion, because not everyone has the room for that in their budget. Exactly what I'm saying. And so my family, my husband and I pretty much try to speak to the person who's probably much like us or the family that's much like us who has children and we don't have funds to just put here and there and everywhere. And even if we did, we would want to help for free because that's just, out of the goodness of our hearts. We want to be helpful to other people. And there have been so many people whose shoulders we stand on who have helped us along the way and they didn't charge anything. So we want to pay it forward and pay it back. So here's the thing. I think that what I'm discussing as far as looking for housing is not just specific to Rwanda. My husband and I visited other countries. We've been to Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. We went to Zanzibar when we were in Tanzania. Zanzibar is its own independent, but most people associate them together. We've been to Nairobi in Kenya. We've been to Accra in Ghana and Cape Coast in Ghana, and we have heard similar things when traveling the continent. Let's see, I'm reading a comment. Yeah, but it's too much and everyone has jumped on board with this. But yes, I will leave that alone. Hey, Rod, man. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're right. There are people that charge for their information or for their experience or for their expertise. And then there are those of us who just want to help people and put it out there and give it for free. And people have to make a living. I don't disparage that. I think that I think it's best to just give it for free and help. But as you said, that's your opinion. You're gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it there as well. So here is back to what I was saying with regard to the experience that my husband and I had, and conversations that I have been a part of since we moved, is that there are certain things that people do not know before relocating. For example, I think we mentioned this a couple of times in some of our previous videos when we were looking for housing. We asked, can someone please recommend us a realtor or someone that can help us to look around? Because you need to know and be in touch with someone who is familiar with the region that you want to live in. Obviously, you need to know someone who knows what homes are available for you to look at. You need to be able to be in touch with someone who can take you around to see various homes that are available with your particular specifications, within your budget, within the area that you want to live in, the number of rooms that you want to have, whether or not you want a yard or a garden, or whether or not you want a long term or short term. You need, obviously, you need to know someone who is going to be privy to that information and give you access to it. And in another country, clearly you need someone who understands the lay of the land, the culture, and speaks the language so that they can make sure that all parties are on the same page, and you know set up appointments for you to be able to get into the homes. Okay, that's obvious because even in the US and in the West, in the US we call them real estate agents. But in the US you have to okay, so in the US, what real estate agents do, and I'm minimalizing this. I'm sure that there are other um, qualifications that they have and responsibilities that they hold, but essentially the purpose is we get in touch with someone who has a roster or a list, catalog of homes available for various prices in various areas, and they help to negotiate the home purchasing process or the home rental process, right? And we think of them as being employed by a an agency or a company, so they are getting some form of compensation, and they usually get um, commission from whatever the total purchase price of that home is, or I guess rent when it's an apartment. Okay, and we tend to bring that idea with us as we're looking for homes in another country. Particularly, we kind of had the idea that will work something like that when we came to look for our house in Rwanda. Queen says a center of some sort should be formed too for all information. Yes, a website or yes, a location where you can go, and in the US you have catalogs. You can look at home buying catalogs and you can just peruse through and you circle the ones you like, get in touch with the number on there. But that is not the way the system is set up here in Rwanda. And in conversations that I've had with other people, it is not the case in several other African countries. What happens is there are brokers, people who work on behalf of the homeowner to find tenants or home buyers for their vacant home. A broker, okay? These brokers are not professionally trained. They do not go through any certification program. They just happen to be someone who knows a few people and a few places, and they can get in touch with the people. A lot of them will post on Facebook Marketplace or on Facebook social pages with regard to housing and home purchasing and real real estate and property on various social outlets. And a lot of times when my husband and I were looking, we were looking on some Facebook pages in Rwanda for homes, and we would see pictures of homes. We get to scroll through and look through the different rooms. A lot of times the pictures were horrible. They were not adequate. They only showed the front of the house, or they showed dirty rooms. Because like I said, they're not trained in marketing and advertising, and they're not trained in like policy and procedure in certain processes. They just happen to know that there is a house available, and the owner probably wanted to work with them and them to be the person to negotiate and set up appointments to bring people to see their house. It's pretty informal. Okay. So, yes, like a chamber of commerce or something, but they don't, that's not the way it works here. So, let's say you are scrolling on Facebook or you're looking on YouTube and you see some houses and there's a contact person. You'll get in touch with that person. Okay. Let me make it clear that there were many times my husband and I were shown homes and we were preparing to leave. Now, before we even purchased a car, we would have to pay a taxi cab to take us around. So we would have to pay for the cost of our transportation. Lo and behold, there were times when we were expected to pay for that other person's cost of transportation as well. So I'm letting you know that in Rwanda, if you're meeting with a broker, a lot of times they do not have their own car. They do not have their own motorcycle. They are not providing their own transportation. They are going to get a moto to meet you somewhere, and then you'll go together. Most times they will not meet you at the location of the house that you want to see. They'll meet you somewhere else that's familiar, a supermarket or a mall or something, and then you'll go together. And many times we were asked for 5K. Second thing to note, so first is they don't have their own transportation most of the time. We had two brokers that did, and another one worked with his brother, so we'll say it's three. The other is that transportation is very, very inexpensive. So if they take a moto, they should not be requiring you to pay them 5K. 5K will take you a long way in Rwanda. 5,000 francs is $5. The modal transportation here starts at 400 franc, which is the equivalent of 40 cents. Okay. So let's say if you go from place to place to place to place to place, then yes, it can add up. But you want to ask them, if you are going to require me to pay for your transportation, then the driver needs to use the meter. That way I will know exactly how much I owe for the cost of your transportation. That is if you choose to pay for it. They are considering this their job. They are touting themselves as the person responsible for representing this home and to show you. So you, as the consumer, need to be aware that you can discuss with them beforehand, because many times this came up after we've seen the house. It's nothing that we wanted. It did not meet any of the specifications that we requested. And then you're asking me to pay for your moto, but I have to pay for my cab as well. Are you going to give me money to pay for my cab to meet you? And a lot of times, because they're not professionally trained and this is not like a serious job for them, so many times, many of them were late. There were probably 15% of the time when they were not very professional. Like I said, once we narrowed it down to three gentlemen that we wanted to work with, they were phenomenal, because we made it clear these are the non-negotiables. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. We're not doing this, and blah blah blah. But that was after when we first got here, these things that I'm sharing with you, we did not know. So we paid for a couple of motos because we thought, well, they do need the transportation when he had to get here. Well, honestly, that should be their responsibility, because they are offering to meet you to show you the home. They do have the option of getting in touch with the guard for that home, because many of the homes are on compounds where they have gates. They have to be open and closed, and there's someone there watching the home during the day or at night. They could have the owner to have that person to open the gate and show you around, and that eliminates the need for their transportation. They could do that, but they want to be involved because they're wanting to get paid. That takes me to my next point, which is you should not be required to pay the broker a commission. The home owner is responsible for paying the broker the commission because he is the one who is working with this broker and allowing him access to his home or her home to show you around. That's something that we did not know in the beginning. And there are different variations and requests. Some people have said you shouldn't pay more than 10%. Some people have said 30%. There are people, brokers, who ask, they set their rate off the top. When you talk to them, at least some of them will be upfront and say, my fee to show you homes will be 30% of the 1 month's rent of the home that you decide to settle on. Some of them charge 50%. We didn't know that that was not something that they couldn't do. 50% of the 1 month's rent of the home that you choose. So if you choose a $800 a month home, which is 800,000 franc, they're expecting, if their fee is 50%, they're expecting $400 from you when you take possession of the keys for that house. Okay, so you need to know that you should not be expected that, because the homeowner has established with them, they have made an agreement, and they are going to get a certain percentage from the homeowner for doing them the favor of filling their home and putting someone in their home. You think I would make a great real estate agent, bridging the gap for that? You know what? I'm willing to help, to be a liaison, but I don't know. I don't think I've been here long enough to know enough people, um, who have homes vacant and available. But I could definitely be a resource for somebody to call and say, "Hey, do you find this reasonable? Is this an expected rate in this particular area with the noise level, with the traffic, with the blah blah blah?" And I can help that way. But I wouldn't say I'm ready to be a real estate agent. But these are just key things that you need to know. So if you're just logging on, if you just happen to click on to this video, what I am saying is that there are key, critical money saving things that people who look for houses in Africa need to know. I'm going to reiterate. One of them is, most of the brokers who are showing you homes and taking you around do not have their own transportation. So that means sometimes they will be tardy, or they may not be as reliable as you might think, because we're coming with the Western mindset that this person owns their own car, and they're coming from an office with your paperwork and all of your non-negotiables and your desires and your specifications at hand. Not the case. And because they don't own their own transportation, a lot of times you'll be getting in your car to leave, whether you have accepted this house or not, and they will ask you to pay for theirs. So establish up front when you talk to them, we have a meeting at 3 o'clock tomorrow to see such and such house. I do not pay transportation fees, or I am willing to pay 2,000 for your transportation fee. I'm in Kigali, Rwanda. Again, 1,000 franc is what I'm referring to, which is $1. Because again, here in Kigali, in Rwanda, the motorcycle transportation fee starts off the top at 400 Rwandan francs, which is 40 cents. Okay. I can go about 10 miles for 1,500 franc, about $1.50. Every single time we were asked to pay for transportation, we were asked for 5K, for 5,000, which is $5. Nobody ever looked at a meter to see how much the cost of transportation literally was for the kilometers that they went. They always asked for 5. So know that. You need to know off the top, because a lot of times it's coming at you at the end when you're done. Oh, well, where's my money? Okay. And if you are paying for your renting a car or you're paying a taxi, it's not necessarily fair to you to pay for your own transportation and pay for theirs, because this is their job. It's their responsibility to transport themselves to your job. Now, I will say, out of the kindness of your heart, do you, if you feel that they have taken you to several places, because there were days when we were sitting there, use your discretion. whether or not you will choose to pay them. But know that it's most likely expected, even if they do not say it to you, because I want you to be able to ask the right questions and establish things up front, because they do not have a habit of establishing things up front, which takes me to the next point that I will review, which was the commission or their service fee. Now, I'm going to get to the word service in a second. The fee that I was referring to is they will oftentimes expect the home buyer or searcher to, or they will request the home searcher to pay a certain percentage of the cost of 1 month's rent, or a certain percentage of the purchase of the home. That is not a fair expectation. I'm not sure if it is illegal, but I know that several people on my WhatsApp group have confirmed that that should not be expected of you as the searcher. That fee is paid by the homeowner because he has established with this broker the right to come in and out of his home and show people, because he wants to fill this vacancy. He wants to get somebody in his home or her home and not have to worry about, trying to find a rental, and most of the times they're working or whatever the case may be, they might not be able to show you. So that's their fee for them to pay, not for you. Again, if you choose to contribute something, to give something to these young men or women who are showing you around out of kindness, and that is something that you determine that you like to do, it should be based on your terms. Because a lot of times they're double dipping, and they don't tell you that they're getting money from the homeowner, but they are telling you, well, my fee is going to be 10%, 30%, 15%, 50. We've been asked for 50% of the 1 month rent, and we were asked for paying this and that. We're like, no, no, we're not doing that. So we were told that the homeowner cannot legally ask for more than 2 months advance payment. Now, we were told that in Ghana they ask for a year to up to 3 years. Some homeowners do. And so the places vary, and sometimes they are really getting over on us because nobody tells us before we come, and we're happy to be here and we're eager to get in a home and get our families established. So, you want to get set up. And so you'll pay what you consider customary and typical without knowing that it's not fair, um it's not legal. So we were fortunate. We informed our landlord here at this home. Yeah, because he said, well, what do you want to pay? Or I don't know what should be expected. What are you able to pay? And so we said we established a security deposit and 2 months rent. And I'm going to reiterate, there are times when we were asked, like when we were doing negotiations about on a home that we were considering getting, 6 months, or they'll say, we might ask, are you willing to negotiate on the monthly rent? You want 1,500 a month. Are you willing to take 1,000 a month? Okay, well, I'll take that if you will pay 6 months in advance, or if you'll pay 5 months in advance, or 8 months in advance. Then I'll negotiate and I will bring down the monthly rent price. They can only legally ask you for 2 months. Okay. That is important for everyone to know. Um, the other thing I mentioned, service, the fee for their service. So my fellow expat made an excellent point. If you're not providing a service to my standard, then you should not be paid the fee. I might give you something for your time and your effort. But if you're not meeting my needs with the service that you're providing, then you should not expect. But there's a difference in the cultural understanding of customer service and quality assurance and expectation. And by that, I mean, when I mentioned you can look for homes online on various pages, for us in Rwanda, we saw houses with dirt everywhere, cockroaches, the tub was dirty, the toilet might have had something in it, laundry just hanging anywhere, bottles in the kitchen. And these pictures are posted to advertise this person's home. So homeowners need to be aware of that, and brokers need to take better pictures so that they can sell them. But that actually spills over into the visiting experience, you guys. We would walk into houses and we're like, it's not ready. Do they do they see this? They they're showing this to me to sell it to me. It's kind of like telling me to get in a filthy car that you want to sell me totally ripped up and dirty. I'm telling you. Yeah, and then so yeah, so many times it'd be dirty. Sometimes paint cracking, cracks in the walls. You can see water damage. Like, this house is not ready. I need turnkey. And what I mean by turnkey is everything is pristine, clean. There is no dirt. Repairs have been done or are in the process of being done, or you have a date at which they're going to be done. If you're remodeling the kitchen or you're in the process, what I can understand that a little dust going on. We walked in many of houses that were in the process of being remodeled or repaired. I mean, we're reasonable, but there were homes where our broker was telling, "Oh, it's a good house. It's a good house." Good by my standards and your standards are not the same, sir. Not the same, you guys. So know that you might want to write it down, and provide it or text it. These are the absolutes that I need when I walk into a home. Please do not take me to a house or show me a home that does not have this one, two, three, four, and five. Or if this is going on in the house, it's not ready for me. Don't show it to me, because it's a waste of time to take me somewhere that is filthy, that you don't, stuff is falling off the hinges, and because you're not the homeowner, you don't know if it's going to be repaired, when it's going to be repaired, what it's going to look like, and then you've got to go back and forth and find that information out. So, I think it's a good idea for the brokers to walk the space first, look at it, check it out, make sure it's going to pass the test for the client, and then take them to it. But a lot of times that does not happen. That was not our experience. um let's see, this is great information. Please hit that like button. Yes, please hit the like button. Okay, what else did we experience when we were home shopping that nobody told us? I think I've pretty much covered it. If there are any questions, um yeah. The other thing I was thinking as I was talking about the experience about walking through homes is being very clear on your expectations. Look, tell them, I need a 4-bedroom house because I got grandmama, I have niece, I have my child, and my husband and I. We all need our individual space. If this room house does not have 4, do not waste my time and take me there. You have to be explicit. There's so many things that you want to establish up front. I need a yard. I need a lawn. Here they call it a garden. I want grass for my child to be able to run around and play. If the house does not have that, do not take me. Again, which is why I suggest that brokers go and see these places before they take someone, because I have a feeling that a lot of times they're seeing them on the inside for the very first time themselves. So you can't know if a home is going to meet your client's needs if you haven't even seen it yourself. So, you guys, make sure you establish your standards, your requirements, your requests, your non negotiables. Determine what you're willing to pay for transportation, if anything. Discuss that with the person when you're scheduling the appointment to see the house. Find out if they have their own transportation. Many times we had to pick a broker up from somewhere, and then and we squeezed and they got in the car with us, and then we took them around, and one or two of them, they had a nerve to still ask us for like a finder's fee or time fee or something. No, we spent money on gas and came and got you and then went to the house. I'm so sorry, we're not doing that. That's not something we're gonna do. No, sir. So guess you gotta, you know what I'm saying? And it helps, I think, to cultivate a culture and an understanding within the real estate space. For I think if more of us um, set these expectations and have these conversations with the brokers in the beginning, they will start to see, okay, this is how I need to operate. This is the way to do business. You teach people how to treat you, right? And the more of us that come with these same things, but you can be kind and still have expectations. I have a need that needs to be met, especially if I have children. I don't have money or time to waste. Please, let's not waste each other's time. This is what I need. This is what I'm willing to do. This is where I'm willing to negotiate. And this is where I'm not. Let's not waste each other's time otherwise. Um, if there are any other suggestions that anybody else has, I would love to hear from you. I want to reiterate, some excellent and very professional brokers here in Rwanda. I can share them with you if you need them, by hitting us up on our email, destination West Africa 22 at 2022 at gmail.com. Please do like, as our fan Miss Queen Giselle recommended or requested, and share and subscribe, because I'm telling you, we didn't know some of this stuff, and it came back to burn us until we found our landlord here, and we had heard these things coming up, bubbling up in the WhatsApp group and various conversations. I remember one of our fellow black spats from Detroit was like, "Oh, y'all getting got out there? No, 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 no. Nobody is paying any commission. And if I'm going to give anybody anything, it's not going to be more than 15%." Because literally, I'm telling you, they were asking for 30% and 50% of 1 month's rent, when knowing good and well they were going to get paid by the owner. So I just think that it's important that you all need to know that. And I'm going to sign out until next time. Take care. Bye.